Imagine a predator so powerful it could take down a bison. So legendary it inspired fear and fascination for centuries. And no, we're not talking about some mythical beast from fantasy novels. We're talking about a very real, very ancient canine, the dire wolf. Welcome to Pets Aplenty, where today we're diving deep into one of the most iconic prehistoric predators ever to roam North America. History. Let's rewind time. Way back, the dire wolf, or Canis dirus, lived during the Pleistocene epoch, which spanned from about 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago. Unlike many mythological creatures it shares its name with, the dire wolf was very real, and it coexisted with early humans and other Ice Age megafauna like mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and giant sloths. Dire wolves weren't just oversized gray wolves. In fact, while they look similar, they belong to a different evolutionary lineage. These beasts likely evolved in North America around 250,000 years ago and spread into parts of South America. Their fossils have been discovered from Alberta to Bolivia, and most famously, thousands of specimens have been recovered from the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, California. These animals were apex predators, meaning they were at the top of the food chain. But around 10,000 years ago, they vanished. Scientists believe a mix of climate change, the extinction of large prey animals, and competition from other predators, including humans, contributed to their demise. Appearance. So, what did a dire wolf actually look like? Bigger, bulkier, and more robust than the gray wolves we see today. Dire wolves weighed up to 150 pounds, with some estimates suggesting even heavier individuals. That's about the size of a modern-day Great Dane, but way more muscular and built for power. They had broad skulls and large crushing jaws, capable of cracking bones. Their teeth were designed for gripping, tearing, and pulverizing flesh. Their legs were slightly shorter than those of today's wolves, indicating they were built more for ambush and brute force than for long-distance running. With a thick coat likely suited for colder climates, dire wolves had an intimidating presence that made them stand out among Ice Age predators. If you saw one coming, you knew it meant business. Temperament. Now, this part gets a little speculative. Because dire wolves are extinct, we can't observe their behavior directly. But based on fossil evidence and comparisons with modern wolves, researchers believe dire wolves were pack animals. The massive number of fossils found together suggests they hunted and perhaps lived in groups. This pack mentality would have given them an edge when taking down large prey, like bison or even young mammoths. However, evidence also suggests that they were highly aggressive, possibly even more so than modern wolves. Some scientists think dire wolves may have fought more among themselves, possibly over food, dominance, or mates, adding another layer of intensity to their already fierce persona. Pretty wild, right? If you're enjoying this prehistoric deep dive, give us a quick like and subscribe to Pets Aplenty. We love bringing you the weirdest, wildest, and most wonderful stories from the animal kingdom. And yes, even the ancient ones. Socialization. When we talk about socialization in dogs, we usually mean how they get along with other animals and people. But with dire wolves, it's more about pack dynamics. Fossil sites like La Brea reveal that many dire wolves had healed injuries, which implies that members of the pack may have cared for one another. That's not uncommon in social carnivores. This kind of social support system could mean injured wolves were able to heal and reintegrate into the group, something solitary hunters wouldn't survive. It's fascinating to think that even 10,000 years ago, loyalty and teamwork were key to survival in the canine world. Grooming. Grooming a dire wolf? Yeah, good luck with that. Of course, no one's brushing a dire wolf's coat, but if we take cues from modern pack animals, it's likely they engaged in social grooming, licking and nudging one another to strengthen bonds and maintain hygiene. Like wolves today, grooming behavior probably helped maintain pack cohesion. Also, their thick coats probably shed heavily during warmer seasons, especially if they moved into more temperate zones. Exercise. If you think your dog needs a lot of exercise, imagine the stamina of a dire wolf. These were high-energy animals that needed to stay in peak condition to hunt massive prey. Whether stalking herds or chasing down wounded animals, dire wolves likely walked and ran for miles every day. Their bodies were made for power bursts, chasing, tackling, and subduing prey. Not necessarily marathon running, but enough to cover vast Ice Age landscapes. Think of it like a prehistoric high-intensity workout. Hunt hard, rest, repeat. Training. Could you train a dire wolf? Well, in theory, not really. While modern dogs have been domesticated over thousands of years to work alongside humans, dire wolves were wild predators. There's no evidence that early humans attempted to domesticate them, and recent genetic studies confirm that dire wolves are not ancestors of today's domestic dogs. Interestingly, this also means that while wolves and dogs share a common ancestor, dire wolves were more distant cousins. They had completely different evolutionary paths, so the idea of raising a dire wolf puppy, fun to imagine, but probably a terrible idea in real life. Nutrition. When it came to diet, dire wolves were strict carnivores and they weren't picky. They preyed on whatever they could overpower, including bison, horses, camels, and even young mammoths. Their massive jaws and strong teeth allowed them to crunch through bones, much like hyenas do today. Some scientists even believe they scavenged more than modern wolves, possibly feeding on carcasses left by other predators or from within the pack. Their digestive systems were likely adapted to handle raw meat, organs, and bone, just like modern wild canids. No kibble for these guys, just raw, primal protein. Health. Now here's where things get really interesting. Fossil records tell us a surprising amount about dire wolf health. Analysis of their bones shows they suffered from arthritis, broken bones, and infections. Injuries you'd expect from animals that hunted giant prey. But remember how we said many of them had healed injuries? That points to extended lifespans and the possibility of some form of care within the pack. Their extinction, however, came quickly as the Ice Age ended and large prey animals disappeared. Dire wolves couldn't adapt fast enough. They weren't as fast or flexible in their diet as other canines, like coyotes or gray wolves. Add to that rising temperatures, shrinking habitats, and competition with humans, and the dire wolf eventually vanished from the earth. And there you have it, an epic tale of power, survival, and extinction. The dire wolf may be gone, but it still prowls the edges of our imagination, inspiring stories, games, and even shows. If you enjoyed this prehistoric adventure, be sure to subscribe to Pets Aplenty for more fascinating journeys into the world of animals, both past and present. Got a favorite dog breed or prehistoric creature you'd love to see featured next? Drop it in the comments. We're always on the lookout for your suggestions. Until next time, keep your tails wagging and your curiosity wild.